Welcome back. Palestinian Health Ministry experts warned of an unprecedented mental health crisis in the enclave due to the occupation's brutal violations. Recently, both Palestinian and Israeli human rights organizations condemned the kidnapping of two children by genocidal forces after the murder of their grandmother. Sama Jaber, former head of the ministry's mental health department, says that such incidents are repeated daily and have wreaked havoc on the mental health of Gazans, especially children. The expert says that these scars extend across generations. In Palestine, the World Food Programme has warned of a drastic price rises in the Gaza Strip, with some products up by more than 200%. The program, which is affiliated to the United Nations, has pointed out that the blockade of humanitarian aid is the main cause of this situation and that women and children are the most affected. It called on the genocidal Israeli authorities to prioritize the needs of the civilian population and allow vital humanitarian aid into the country for the Palestinian people. The agency also warned of the critical food situation in Gaza and appealed to the international community for €242 million to continue its operations in the region for the next 6 months, both in Gaza and the West Bank. In Yemen, the government authorities report the re-establishment of the naval blockade exclusively for Israel. Yemeni Foreign Minister Jamal Amer said that the decision was reinstated because of the genocidal regime's refusal to implement the ceasefire agreement reached in Qatar. He stressed that the naval ban includes the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and the Gulf of Aden, while stating that any Israeli vessel that crosses the declared area of operation will be prosecuted. He reiterated that the ban will remain in place until the crossings with Gaza are reopened and humanitarian aid is allowed in. In Palestine, a charity in the northern Gaza Strip has been distributing hot meals to war-weary Palestinians during the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan as Israel continued its blockade of the coastal enclave.
Palestinians in Gaza are struggling to feed their families as Israel has maintained its blockade of Gaza for the past 2 weeks. Many have turned to charities to get hot food for their children. Residents, most of whom live in tents near or on top of their destroyed homes, are suffering water shortages, food shortages, and shortages of everything since the siege began.
In light of many crises, the closure of crossings for 2 consecutive weeks, we suffer greatly from a shortage of flour and a shortage of food. As you can see, now we get our daily sustenance from the charity. In the past, we did not depend on charity in any way, but today we were forced to come to the charity due to the scarcity of materials. Materials are very scarce. There's a shortage of water, a shortage of food, and a shortage of everything.
Israeli genocide has left most of Gaza's population of over 2 million dependent on international aid. In this context, aid groups have expressed concern about the diminishing gains made during the 6-week ceasefire to avert famine in parts of the Strip, while those still in refugee camps express concern about the lack of even the simplest things.
It is a very difficult suffering. We used to live an average life, but thank God it was much better than now. Now a person suffers with how to provide for his family, how to spend on his children. There is no work, no housing like before, no care, no food, no life requirements. Even simple things like vegetables and fruit are no longer available. The simplest things that were in our lives are no longer there.
The first phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas ended a fortnight ago, but the lull in fighting has held for now, though tense. Israeli forces have withdrawn to buffer zones inside Gaza, and hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians have returned to northern Gaza, and hundreds of aid trucks were entering daily until Israel cut off supplies to the territory's 2 million inhabitants a fortnight ago, re-exposing the inhabitants to various risks.
In this context, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, has sounded the alarm over the dire situation in Gaza, where hospitals are rapidly running out of essential medical supplies. The World Health Organization, WHO, reports that the health sector is severely damaged, with 84% of health facilities either damaged or destroyed. This, along with the Israeli blockade, has led to critical shortages of medicine, medical supplies, and skilled personnel. The ongoing conflict has resulted in significant trauma-related injuries, with over 24,000 people suffering major life-changing injuries by September 2024. The lack of access to essential services, including maternal and child health care, has worsened the humanitarian situation, with reports of increased malnutrition and related deaths, particularly among children and the elderly. Another consequence of the Israeli blockade is a desperate struggle to secure regular supplies of fresh water, with many waiting for days to fill makeshift containers. The situation has become increasingly dire as water aid trucks arrive, drowning long queues of people who often walk considerable distances to obtain this essential resource. Gaza relies heavily on external water sources, including the Mekorot water line from Israel, which is often threatened with closure. This has heightened fear of a major water shortage, exacerbating health risks due to contaminated water.
We are suffering from the issue of drinking water and salty water. We wait for 3 or 4 days waiting for the truck carrying filtered water to come. We see a truck at the end of the street, we run towards it. We are waiting on the road since the morning waiting for water. We are suffering, one water is filtered and another is not. We are struggling, and every day we are looking for a solution for the water problem. It's the month of Ramadan, we need to eat, drink, and we want to break fast on good water, not bad one. The salty water had really tired us. They say it is filtered, but it turns out to be salty. Thanks God today a water truck came, and we pray for God that we get one every day.